You're now listening to the Palmetto Dugout Show, hosted by State Director Sammy Esposito, Associate Scouts Drew Stewart and Sean Smith, that discuss all things related to amateur baseball in South Carolina. Here are your hosts.
Welcome into episode 44 of the Palmetto Dugout Show. I'm Drew Stewart here with Coach Espo, and that's it. What's going on, Coach?
Coach Stewie, it's just, it's a little old school day, little OGs on the podcast today. Not everybody can attend all the time, unlike us. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we're here ready to roll.
We're going back to the old days. Well, see, you missed out on mine and Austin's podcast, so it's only right for just to be me and you. I guess I'm the X factor here, and I'm here all the time, every time. Okay. So we got a good bit of stuff we're going to talk about today. First up is, these upcoming events. We have Southern Athletic Scout Day on Thursday, Bigger Than Baseball Scout Day on Friday, and then we move into some Carolina trials next week, our second Carolina trials, and then Border Battle on the 28th, going to be another big one, and then taking us all the way, I think we have another Scout Day early July with the Royals, correct, Coach?
That's correct. That's correct.
And then moves us all the way into the junior futures and future games from July 25th to July 30th for the juniors, 26th to the 29th for the futures. And those invites will start going out mid-July, early mid-July. Correct, Coach? Somewhere in
early
there.
July. Yeah, we'll probably start getting a few of the junior ones out first before we get the regular future game guys out. We got to. We've had a lot of players asking about the invites, but we got to get through our events. Obviously we got one more, like you said, one more team Carolina trials coming up, and then the big one with the Border Battle, which really gives us a good comparison to be able to see, the South Carolina players versus North Carolina, especially when we're still running a dual combo roster for the future games. Obviously with the junior futures being the South Carolina only team we have, we can kind of get some of those invites out a little bit quicker, but we're fired up to get a few more of these events rolling here. The good thing is we'll be night events here, the next two ones for us, so we won't sweat as bad at this thing, but it'll be nice to be under the lights on Thursday night out at PC, Presbyterian College, for Southern Athletics, and then under the lights at Catawba Ridge. Just got moved to Catawba Ridge for the Bigger Than Baseball one, so it'll be fun week here to finish up this week, and a lot of action, a lot of players.
I feel like I'm a part of the Southern Athletics at this point since I've seen them all weekend. I get to see them again Thursday.
I think some people are trying to become part of the program. I don't know. You never know. Well, TBD on that one, so we'll see what happens.
Watch out. And then we move. So we just had Carolina Trials number 1 last week, Wednesday, correct, at College of Charleston, and saw some good guys there. And we'll kind of talk about some of those guys that stood out. But I want to point this out right now. Wyatt Seegers came all the way from Alaska, Coach. It was if you drove a car, it was 3 days and 8 hours. We looked it up. Unbelievable.
Coach, I think he threw us all off, right? I'm doing some of the paperwork leading into it, and I'm like, this kid doesn't exist. There's who is this guy? Like, I can't find him. And then I'm like, then I go look at the registration. I go, he's really from Alaska. And then I'm not going to name a name. One of our staff members at the event thought he was from Arkansas with the initials. So it shows how much we get Alaskans to our events. But yeah, big time, it's awesome. He was in town visiting family and said, why the hell not? I want to come to a great event. So he was out of the Team Carolina trial. So it was awesome to see Wyatt running around out there from Alaska. And then I think he was actually heading to a couple of college camps while he's in town as well. So that was really neat. I think it's our first Alaskan to an event. I don't want to say it's going to be our last, but it's slim pickings to get another one in there. But that was neat to see. And he ran around and bounced around with a lot of energy and was excited to be out there.
Yeah, no doubt. It was good to get him out there. And then
AR and AK on the state initials it's a little funky, so you never know.
Coach, I was already hot. My brain was gone. So that we'll just leave it at that. I didn't study geography enough, especially in the United States. It'll be okay. We'll chalk that one up. Giving the
I think you're an
listeners what
educator.
I'm well, special educator. We'll just chalk that one up there. I'm sure Omar will have something to say about that here soon. But more guys we saw. Big guy that stood out was 2026 Banks Wickersham from Fort Dorchester High School. He's gotten better. We saw him at that Shipyard preseason tournament, and we liked him there. But gotten a lot better since we've seen him then. Pretty good hit tool, stronger. Yeah, he's gotten a lot stronger. Got some bat speed and barrel control. He's going to be exciting to watch as he progresses through this summer as well.
No doubt. He was also, we've talked about this a ton on the show before, seeing some of the progressions of these guys that we whether we see them early on in high school or they come to events, but just watching these guys continue to grow and mature and, in a good way. And Banks obviously was one that is going that way. And, with the new rule change, if this rule change didn't go into effect, I would see him as one that would be getting a lot of interest this summer. But obviously, he still can get that in different ways, but he was definitely fun to watch. Like you said, another youngster I want to talk about is 2027 from North Central's Cole Babbitt. Cole bounced around, defensively, a couple different things, really swung the bat well. The ball jumped off his bat. Hit balls pretty hard, showed a lot of bat speed. Behind the plate, threw the ball well, tons of quickness, also, arm strength just in general around the field. But then he gets on the mound and that arm strength continues to go off. It's a little bit smaller frame, but athleticism and quick twitch. He was up to 82.1 TrackMan number. So he showed tons of arm speed and arm strength. And especially from a youngster, but obviously one that's, played high school baseball already. I think that was correct me if I'm wrong, their first time that North Central's made or the farthest they've ever made it in the state playoffs. So with some youngsters like him and some other guys taking on that team, look for them to keep progressing in the same way. And a big shout out to his high school coach for bringing him down for the event. Kind of going to another one here, kind of a repeat offender for us, Johnny Compton. Johnny came to Team Carolina Trials last year, junior futures guy, preseason All-State, came back to a Team Carolina Trials, and we saw him this spring as well. You saw him at Indian Land, and Johnny continues to progress and go the right way, gotten bigger, gotten stronger, more athleticism. On the mound, the arm keeps going, jumping the right way. It was up to about 83 miles an hour on the mound with big arm strength and speed. Bat, shows bat speed, strength, gets a little long at times, but it's shows good athleticism at shortstop. Kind of get a little haywire with his arm out there because he's trying to throw it 110 miles an hour across the field, but it's showing off the arm strength in there. And he was fun to watch him kind of bounce around and making jumps in there as well. Another player, we can probably talk about a bunch of these guys, but another guy that's come back is J.R. Struck. J.R. had come to some events last year, was going to come this winter, but, had the knee injury, kind of missing time this spring, was able to more so play a little bit more defensively for the state champs down there in Oceanside. But JR is 6'2", 195-pound, athletic, big and strong. Ball jumped off his bat. Shows good actions in the infield with arm strength as well. He's going to be a fun one to watch and keep progressing. So, it's kind of hurt a little bit, missing some time this spring or the fall and the spring with that knee injury. So maybe a little short on some at bats, but he's going to get those this summer and look for, more jumps for him as he continues to go in the right direction. But, the one thing I do want to touch base on this event, and we talked about a little bit already with some guys in the past that have come to things. We've already got invites out to these guys for our border battle event that came. And that's the purpose of these events for us, right? They come, they show out, boom, we got on there. We've already got some invites out for the border battle coming up. the guys that came to this, and we have also, marked down some guys for junior futures team along with the future game. So, this event did exactly what it's supposed to do. Kind of get some guys, get us to see a bunch of guys, get us to get on there and get their name on the list for some other future events that are invite only. So, and there's a bunch of guys. I got them marked down, and some invites went out yesterday for the border battle. Some more will go out here soon. We're going to hold off a little bit on, like we've talked about with the junior future game. So, but invites are going to go out from those. So it was a tremendous event. The first one for us. Our numbers are up from last year, which is always good. I think it was also helpful being at, beautiful new turf at the College of Charleston. So we want to thank Coach Holbrook and his staff for hosting us down there and giving us really whatever we needed down there. The cages, turf, all the stuff, setting up the field, and that was a tremendous event. Those guys, those players, I'm sure had a good time running around in that beautiful turf down there in the college.
Which could be the best field in the state.
Coach, best playing surface 100%. Especially in the middle of the summer, I would go with that one.
Ooh, it did get a little hot there at the end. And Austin had to go churn butter a few times. But hey, all in all, it was a great event. What we're noticing, well, we've noticed it for a while. There's a lot of young talent in the state. And that'll be at 26, 27 class, 25 class, a lot of talent, especially in that younger level there in the state of South Carolina. And some of it was evident here with the South Carolina Summer Championships down at Shipyard. We'll first give a shout out to Power Baseball and Southern Athletics on their championship wins this week. Shout out to those guys for winning that championship. Both teams very talented, with Southern Athletics winning the 16U and Power winning the 17U. So I'll kind of talk about, me and Austin did our day 2, day 3 recap. I'll talk about day 4 since Blake was with me, but Blake doesn't get the honors of being on the show yet. And Austin was not there. He was MIA. So start out with Landon Fowler for Southern Athletics. He threw game 1 of the semifinals. 2025 goes to Powdersville High School. Progressively gotten better. Once again, we saw him at Shipyard preseason tournament. He was up to 90 in this game. The biggest thing for him, though, was the slider. The slider has gotten progressively better, more late bite to it. It's 74 to 76. I heard he's been working with Corey Welch on the sliders. Don't hold me to that. So, hey, it could be a big reason why it's progressed so much. But he's got, like I said, he's gotten a lot better. He had command of both of those pitches and was able to, effectively get outs and produce that soft contact. And then another one, it's been a plug for me to give him a shout out on the podcast, and I think he is worthy of that shout out. And that is Mason Salisbury, 2024 catcher for Power Baseball, also plays for the Stags. People probably know by now. I guess I'd be a Stag fan since I talk about the Stags so much. But Salisbury, very underrated player, but has a knack for finding the barrel no matter where that pitch is in the zone. Got a few outer half pitches in the games on Sunday and was able to barrel those up for backside singles and doubles. Sneaky pop. You wouldn't think he'd be able to drive him out, but hey, he hit one. I think this was day 2 on Wando River Field. It's 375 in left center, and he hit it about 370 right at the fence. No wind either, so no carry there. So big power bat. It's fun to watch him play. He plays the game the right way and has control of that pitching staff behind the plate, as well as showing accurate throws down to the bag around 2-0 to 2-1. So we'll give a shout out to Salisbury here. And hey, I had to present the trophy to Power Baseball as they won the 17U tournament because Eddie T was on the 16U field. And we're going to have a video we throw in right here of none other than Quez Hadley doing about 75 backflips after winning the South Carolina Summer Championships. So big congrats to both of those teams. We'll see the Southern Athletics Thursday. Yes, Coach.
Yeah, big shout out, right? Big shout out to Eddie T in the tournaments, right? I've gotten, I know you probably have too. I wasn't there this weekend, but I've gotten a ton of people reaching out to me, telling me how great of the tournament it was this past weekend from a talent standpoint, from how it was run, from the, and more importantly, thank you and Austin and Blake and those guys for the content that was put out there. It's a lot of people were extremely impressed with the whole thing. So big shout out to not only the teams, right, with the talent and the organizations and the parents, but big shout out to Eddie Tisdale putting on a great tournament, and you and Austin and Blake and those guys putting out all the great content. With on top of that content, we'll be running a couple of stories here in the next day or two with some of those scout blogs. So big shout out to all you guys.
Yeah, should be a good bit of scouting notes from those 4 days, slam packed of stuff. We also had 2 interviews during that time, as they're both out on YouTube now. We'll be out on Instagram, Twitter, and everything in between. TikToks are out too of various players throughout the tournament. So yeah, all in all, great week, great content. So we'll hop into our updated super regional picks. How about this? Omar went 2-6. The road dogs didn't work for him. The tent maker was not making any tents on this one. Sammy went
not going to Omaha.
Sammy went 6-2. Austin went 6-2. I went 5-3. And the winner, Matt Payne, went 7-1. It's pretty good. Pretty good
picks. For his prize, he was booted off the show. So you win. You come from out of state and you win, we kick you out. It's that simple.
I think he's been on the show about 5 times. He's never won anything. So congratulations, Matt, on your first win. Now that you won, you're no longer allowed back on. That's how we do it in South Carolina. So we move on to the College World Series picks. You'll hear mine and Sammy's on the podcast, and we will get Matt's, Austin's, and Omar's for the final picks. Here's what we're going to do. Just going to pick bracket winner for each one and then an overall champ. So we'll start out with the side. Find it here. Bracket 1, which includes Oral Roberts, TCU, Virginia, and Florida. Who you got, Coach?
I want to keep rolling with Oral Roberts. It's a fantastic story. They're a great team. A lot of people probably didn't, never heard of them or know where they're at. Tulsa, Oklahoma. But they're very talented, and watching them play the Ducks this weekend, they got, they're as good as anyone out there, but it's going to be hard to go against the Florida Gators. They kind of almost assemble a major league roster there. Their pitching rotation, they hit balls harder than I think anybody in the country hits balls. Yeah, it's phenomenal how often they square balls up. They can play defense. They got speed. They got power. They got power arms for days. So I'm gonna go with the Gators coming out of that bracket. It's gonna be a tough one, but it's gonna be hard to go against the Gators.
You went with the Gators. I'm gonna roll with the hot team. Gotten really hot recently. Give me the Horny Toads. TCU stays hot and wins bracket 1. I think it's time for the Horny Toads. They struggled and they made it all the way to national championship in football. This is the year for the Horny Toads. Give me the Horny Toads in bracket 1. And then bracket 2, we move over to Stanford, Wake Forest, Tennessee, and LSU. Pretty loaded bracket, it seems like.
It really is. When you look at how the College World Series can play out, pitching depth doesn't factor in that much. And I say that by, if you win, you have all these built-in days off, right? If you lose, you still have some days built in. So it's not like you don't have to go to your third, fourth, fifth starter, like you could, into a regional type of thing, or regional, you might need more depth than out in Omaha. So with me saying that, I'm gonna go with LSU with that offense, and it looks like they're starting to figure out the right time a couple of those those starters, and then you might not Skeens, look at that. That guy's going to go 7 to 9 innings. So there goes your there goes your depth there, and you can bring that guy back. He can throw the third game. So I'm gonna go with the Tigers. I mean, that with that offense with all that, I say goodnight. I think the Tigers gonna be playing against the Florida Gators. Big shot SEC teams.
I was about to say you're going all SEC final.
Well, I mean, if you look at the history of the teams that make it there and the teams that win it and play for it, it's kind of a good. It'd be a good bet.
Not so fast, my friend. in bracket 2, I'm going with the Demon Deacs. Now, granted, they're not playing in Winston-Salem anymore, so there isn't going to be 42 home runs hit in one game. But I think the Demon Deacs are rolling. I think they got a good pitching staff. They got some hitters. And I think they take bracket 2 to set up a no SEC championship.
Coach, I've seen how you're a lock for picking teams that have been to Omaha in the past. When was the last time the SEC hadn't had a team represent in the championship?
It doesn't really matter.
I mean,
it's
obviously
2023.
Coastal Arizona 2016. But it doesn't happen very often. So you going out on a limb like this is a bold move for Coach Stewie here.
Hey, I think Omar is going to feel the same type of thing that I'm doing.
You remember Omar went 2-6 last week.
It's because he went with the road teams. That's his fault. He didn't pitch his tent the correct way. All right, Coach, you got Florida and LSU. You got Florida and LSU. Who are you going with? Oh, he's going Gators.
Gators for the championship. Too good.
Always going to Gators. I got TCU Wake Forest. Give me the Horny Toads.
Whoa. Bold
Shock
move.
the world. The Horny Toads win the College World Series. Hey. It's time.
Only time will tell how inaccurate or accurate we are with these picks. Only time will tell.
Hey.
The chances are our picks are going to go 0-2, just how it normally works. So
that's exactly how it works.
If it's anything like the Power 25, where every time we rank the team number 1 and they immediately lost, then we'll go ahead and apologize to these universities as well.
It'll be okay. We're always wrong, so that's all that matters. So our question of the day comes from Omar in his last comment. Okay, so where do you draw the line on leftovers?
Like how long?
So Omar apparently had been eating a 12-day-old bean burrito.
That's disgusting. I mean, first of all, bean burritos questionable immediately. I mean, that's a questionable day afterwards. I mean, 12 days. I don't know how Omar's still with us.
He said what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
That might be accurate. I don't know. I'm I don't know if I've made it 44 years so far, and I've done some things, but to me, a bean burrito is give me 1 day extra on the.
I don't know that you can give me 30 minutes on a bean burrito.
I mean, if you eat it and you immediately put it in the fridge, maybe you have a little bit of 1 day shelf life. But 12 days, maybe that's why Omar's tent was put up the wrong way last week.
He said he nuked a 3-day of bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. I don't know what that means. I don't know what nuked.
Is that a microwave?
Hey, bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits, phenomenal though.
Yeah. I guess it depends on the food, right? It depends on the food.
It depends on the food.
You go pick up some, beef and broccoli at your local Chinese restaurant. That thing you can eat on that for a few days. But you go to McDonald's and you get a number 2 because they got A, B, and C now. I guess
I'm not warming fast food back up.
I'm not warm. Yeah, I'm not warming the French fries are done unless you got an air fryer. Now you got a
Air fryer will get it right.
But still, it's not. I'm with you on the fast food. It depends on, you go get some spaghetti and meatballs. You got a couple more days too in that thing. So it all depends on the food.
I'm not a big leftover guy, but hey.
The bean burrito, I'm out. No,
Especially 12 days. Woo. Omar's going to have to pitch a tent every day if he's eating a bean burrito.
For all of our listeners, we haven't lost yet at this point in time. And you guys are wondering who Omar is. Omar's our biggest fan, I think, or our biggest hater, one of the two. He comments majority of the time on our show. Drew froze on us here, that internet.
I lost you.
You're back.
I'm back.
You're back. But
I got that unstable network over here since my beautiful, expensive Wi-Fi at the house has been out for 2 days because, when you live in God's country, lightning strikes. And it strikes hard and fast and it knocks everything out. But hey, we'll end on that note since I have great Wi-Fi here. So, hey, from all of us here at PBR South Carolina, have a great week.